A young girl cooks a delicious breakfast and walks quietly up to a room to wake up a man. The man is a young adult, barely of the age to be the father of this girl, but he is the father. Just like us, his ears also perk up when she wakes him up with the term father, and he jolts awake. Looking at the face of the girl, he sighs in familiarity, proving that he indeed is her father. Lee Dojun made some sort of dad contract and gained himself a daughter 2 months ago. 10 years ago, rifts started appearing in this world. These were portals, out of which strong monsters that were undefeatable by normal humans started appearing and attacking everyone. Followed by this was the awakening of some people called the Hunters, who had mana and skills to fight those monsters and defeat them. Their skills and powers were visible on a screen, as if in games, and those improved with more training and experience. Lee Dojun was a normal, non-awakening human who worked hard for 3 years to become a government employee, and finally got a desk job at a rift management company. However, the poor guy was bullied and used around the office for being a new average worker. When he got his first official task after a year, he was excited and went to take a look at the Gangdong district to see if a rift had appeared. On the way, however, he got hit by a truck. Instead of dying, he ended up being teleported into the so-called world of Merim. Like being in a game, his life wouldn't end if he died in Merim. Instead, he earned a skill where he'd wake up a day before every time he died. With this skill, Dojun died again and again, but eventually ended up becoming the strongest of all and defeated the entire world of Merim. And just like that, Bro woke up in the hospital bed in his world. All of the events that changed his entire personality only happened in a day during his surgery after the accident. One could say it was just in his head and was a psychological situation. But what would explain the change in his stats then? He left the hospital fit and fine, defying the science. But his long journey in Merim made his memories of being in Seoul fade. This made him need some time to adjust to the same life that he had logically a few days ago, but also made him wish to live normally after the violence and bloodshed he not only encountered, but also caused. Walking back in his office would of course earn him some gasps and stares since everyone was aware he got into an accident. He makes getting hit by a truck sound like an easy deal. His changed persona is noticeable since his stutter is gone. His expressions are more sullen and serious. He looks more confident, and his build has increased. The boss even has to check his biometric identification multiple times to be sure this is the Lee Dojun he bullies. Poor man doesn't know what the results of the same bullying will be now. His telling about his memories being faded is easy due to the accident. At least one impact can be seen as understandable in him after getting embraced by a truck. His boss sends him home to get a good rest before coming in the next day. With his vague memory, Dojun manages to find the building he lives in, but stills when the moment to hit the passcode appears. Now Dojun is aware that he lives alone, so a voice asking from inside about who it is takes him aback for a moment. A young girl opens the door and he steps back, having no idea who the girl calling him her uncle is. Yunhee is the daughter of Dojun's brother and his girlfriend, and after the death of her mother, she has nowhere to go, resulting in Dojun asking her to move in with him for the time being. The story adds up, but Dojun refuses to take her in due to his current situation. Yunhee seems pretty insistent since she shows him the conversation they had, in which Dojun agreed with the situation, and with her late mother being an orphan, she has no backup place to go to. Dojun is unfazed as he blankly tells her he cannot do much about it since his memories are vague, and the accident made him have a hard time adjusting to his normal life now. Yunhee takes this as an opportunity, and with great energy, she claims they should have a contract. She tells him to become her father till the time she graduates, or is capable enough to get into a dorm. The request is a little weird for Dojun, until she mentions helping Dojun adjust to his normal life. Having forgotten a lot of stuff, it is a convenient situation for Dojun, so he sits back down to make a contract. Yunhee stutters a little, probably not expecting Dojun to pull out a paper and start writing a contract. Dojun passes her the paper with the contract in a strictly professional tone. Talk about being a perfect businessman. The contract mentions the date she will be there, the fact that Yunhee will take care of the house and that Dojun will only pay bills concerning the house. even though she is allowed to make changes, and the contract barely gives her anything other than the shelter. Yunhee agrees with it and signs the contract. She is very grateful about it and even decides to call him her father. She tells him to just call her by her name, which Dojin starts doing casually right in the next moment. Even Yunhee is surprised at how easily Dojin adapts to new situations. Yet he cannot adjust to his own old life again. Dojin then leaves to freshen up. Yunhee walks up to the room that has the door open, unaware of her new father changing his shirt in there. Getting a little embarrassed, she waits till he is done and then mentions the kitchen being out of groceries. Dojin casually hands her his card, telling her to use it for the grocery. Yunhee is a little flustered and then hesitantly asks Dojin to accompany her since he needs to adapt to his normal life again. Being an easily adjustable person as we saw earlier, he agrees right away. Talk about robotic behavior. Being a caring little daughter, Yunhee offers to make some vegetable dishes, even though meat is on sale. She says this judging by Dojun's eating habits, as if she has been living with him for a long time. She smiles when he praises her idea, but her proud moment is interrupted by a rift appearing in the middle of the grocery store. As people run, Yunhee takes out a gun from her bag. Her entire aura changes as she asks her father to run towards safety while she deals with the dangerous situation. Chapter 3. Yunhee gets in the position to shoot whatever comes out of the rift, and lucky for her, it is a goblin. As people run for their lives, the so-called father of the hunters stands unamused at people fearing a goblin. Yunhee takes a shot, and a beam of energy comes out of the gun, going straight through the chest of the goblin, killing it. As she sighs, Dojin looks at the gun, now aware that she is a hunter, while Yunhee starts questioning why he didn't run since his life could have been in danger. Only if she was aware of his pocket watch skill and his stats. It is the monsters that should be scared of him, not the other way around. However, for the sake of secrecy and Yunhee's genuine care for him, he politely agrees with how he should have been careful. The police arrive, taking notes of the situation and asking for Dojin's account number to send the prize money for defeating the monster. Dojin asks Yunhee to do so, since she is the one who did it, surprising her as if she didn't expect it. In the evening, both Yunhee and Dojin are surprised when she receives 150,000 won for defeating the goblin. Dojin seems to be becoming a typical father pretty fast, with how casually he looks into her phone from behind. Privacy, what? Dojin asks her why she needs to live with him when she can earn this much by being a hunter. Yunhee tells him that it was a lucky situation that a rift appeared before her, and that it was an easily defeatable goblin, rather than a stronger monster. Moreover, she requires a hunter's license to enter the dungeon rifts. Her conversation goes on while Dojin stands bored as if he didn't just ask her the question. Finally taking part in the conversation, he asks if she wants to learn some cultivation technique, but Yunhee doesn't know what it is. He starts explaining that one absorbs external energies in this technique, but drops the topic mid-sentence, leaving the poor girl confused. Yunhee still doesn't bother prying into the situation, and happily brags about herself a little, by telling him that she got into the Hunter's Academy, and even without awakening, can use a little mana. She got her mana gun through its license, which she has, even if she isn't yet an official hunter. Dojin praises her that not everyone can be a hunter nowadays, making Yunhee playfully ask him to take good care of her. Then, since she plans on becoming super famous one day. At the dinner table, Yunhee serves him a lot of food and asks about his job, glad that he doesn't do anything dangerous. The next day, Dojun enters his office, surprising his boss, who keeps asking him to relax and prioritize his health. Even if the boss is being nice, something about him makes him annoying. Dojun has his desk with his senior, Kwon Hyuksu, who politely asks him to take his help whenever needed. The boss looks at the clock, clicking his teeth at someone for being late. Hyuksu tells him to calm down, since they are a hunter. But apparently, an F-ranked hunter doesn't deserve that much respect. Well, the oldie should try to become a hunter himself then. A woman comes rushing into the office as she breathes heavily and wipes her sweat, apologizing for being late. Chapter 4. With peak hypocrisy, the chief greets the hunter faking sweetness and apologizing for not coming to the door to receive her. Hyuksu tells Dojun to greet her since Shei Yiji is the newly contracted hunter that Dojun had been assigned. Hyuksu also reminds him that their department pairs up with hunters to go out on the field with. As Dojun meets her, Hyuksu interrupts hesitantly that the job was reassigned to him provided Dojun's current situation. Dojun seems pretty offended at being told that his job is being taken away, and sternly tells them he will do his job by himself. The chief tries to intervene, mocking Dojun for having the potential to cause problems due to his troubled head. But the changed persona and build of Dojun make it hard to dominate him. Hyuksu drops out eventually, even though the chief resists it. Later, the chief rants to Hyuksu about Dojun, but Hyuksu asks him to give Dojun a chance. During the car ride, Dojun carefully goes through all the papers in his hand to understand the exact work he needs to do. He feels like he has figured out enough for the task. All he needs to do is make sure to collect as much information about the rift as possible. His thoughts are interrupted when Yeji starts talking. His shock makes it seem like he had completely forgotten that he had a company. Dojun apologizes for his zoning out. He then asks about the long cylindrical stuff in her hand, which turns out to be her suitcase carrying her outfit and weapon. Reaching the destination, the two get out of the car, and Yeji puts a green ball from the suitcase to her chest, turning it into an outfit like an Iron Man. Dojun is surprised to see the transformation, but all that comes out of this robot-like man is Her hopes are shattered when someone from behind greets her with familiarity. 3 hunters walk up to her while the one in the center mocks her that he thought she might have quit by now. Yeji can be seen troubled as her face starts sweating. Seeing Dojun with her, the man questions in surprise if she joined a guild too. Yeji is so nervous that she stutters in just saying yes. The man bullies her even more as he looks down upon her, not expecting that a guild would accept someone who cannot even use mana. Yeji has turned completely quiet as she looks down while the man keeps bullying her. Dojun is unamused by the situation and asks if she knows this person. Yeji tells him that they studied at the same academy. This conversation brings the attention of the hunters to the card Dojun is wearing, giving them more content to harass Yeji over. Yeji gets even more flustered as the stupid, obnoxious guy starts laughing as he mocks her that a guild would never accept her, so it makes sense that she is currently working as an F rank with a public official. His petty insults are interrupted when Dojun calls the situation displeasing. The 3 of them snicker, assuming they are superior to Dojun. But boy, are they mistaken. Even if he looks down upon Dojun, his ego is bruised for being interrupted, and he lifts Dojun by grabbing his collar. Like Yeji, any person witnessing this will be worried for Dojun after comparing the difference of builds of the two, but only if they know what Dojun is capable of. The hunter challenges Dojun, rhetorically questioning what he is going to do if he doesn't like what is happening here. Dojun seems to have had enough here as the next moment his eyes darken. Chapter 5. The hunter challenges Dojun in his face about what he will do, only to suddenly feel the aura around him shift at Dojun's stare. Just like the red in his glare, the environment also feels heated and heavy. The man receives a warning to let go in 3 seconds if he wants to survive. But in reality, Dojun isn't saying anything, baffling the macho man to every extent. He staggers back in confusion and shock. He suddenly feels his throat closing, leaving him breathless. One of his fellows touches him to bring him back to his senses, but the guy, whose name is Han Zhong, falls in fear. Not that anyone cares, but let's just mention it for any future reference. It feels like he has seen a monster in front of him, but to a normal eye, it is just Dojun standing with his usual stance. Even if it were to be a monster, wasn't Mr. Hanzhong the strongest of hunters who looked down upon others? To top off his already happening humiliation, Hanzhong pisses his pants, stinking up his already stinky pride and masculinity. On the front, Dojun bends down, asking the trembling and panting guy if he is all right, but his eyes give the real warning, telling Hanzhong to not get in his way if he cares for his lowly life. Hanzhong responds in an ugly, crying tone, making Dojun ask Yeji to move before things get any more disgusting. The 2 of them enter the rift and find themselves on plain ground. Dojun registers the rift in his tablet, and after getting the map of the location, Yeji offers to take the lead for the 2 of them to look around. Yeji wants to impress Dojun and create an image that she is capable enough to deal with stuff. Her determination goes down the drain, seeing other hunters already done and dusted with defeating the goblins around the rift. Yeji dramatically drops to her knees, crying about how she wants to protect Dojin and show her capability. Meanwhile, Dojin finds it a plus point as the area being clear of enemies means they can cover it faster and hence go home earlier. While Yeji sulks, he checks her stats and is a little surprised to see them as just that of an average person. She doesn't even have any mana. Her only specialty is Scholar's swordsmanship. She can only obtain mana when she reaches phase 3 of it, and currently she is still on 1. Discussing with Yeji, she tells him she was initially very happy to have awakened a skill that was rare and S-ranked, but unfortunately, even after being number 1 in her academy, she couldn't upgrade her skills. Even after working so hard, she just doesn't know how to upgrade her phases. Cue the dramatics. She starts chewing her hair, biting her fist, and dropping literal tears as she explains her helplessness and pain to Dojin, not bothering to respond to his call to her name. He suddenly exclaims her name and pulls her back by her arms, and that is when Ms. Dramatic comes out of her emotions to see that she barely dodged an attack by a goblin. Yeji stands shocked as she sees some goblins in front of her. Dojin has to bring her back to reality yet again by telling her that she needs to start subjugating them rather than standing still. Yeji finally collects herself and decides to do what her job is. With nice and clean movements, she beheads a goblin. After doing so, Yeji turns towards Dojin, asking him proudly if he saw that even she can defeat goblins easily. But before she can say or do anything else, a goblin starts approaching Dojin. Yeji exclaims for Dojin to look out for the goblin, but he seems to be standing unfazed and still looking at his screen. Chapter 6. The goblin rushes towards Dojin to attack, but without even looking up. Dojin dodges the goblin. Dojin perfectly used the advantage of standing at the edge of the cliff, as missing the target made the goblin lose its balance and take a dive to hell. Yeji looks at Dojin impressed, but hearing her, Dojin tells her to keep her focus on her enemy since she is still in the middle of a fight. Ironically, not even Yeji, but also the said enemy looks at Dojin bored with an exclamation mark for expressions, questioning how anyone could ignore what he did. Still, Yeji brings her focus back to the goblin, who looks ready to fight her while she looks already tired. Dojin mocks her for getting tired after fighting only 2 goblins. Yeji pretends like she is fine, but she is short of breath and losing against a goblin. Her lousy responses and hard time deflecting attacks make Dojin tell her to take a step back. He tells her not to act aggressively, and to base her movements and attacks on how the enemy attacks. He makes her notice that she isn't the only one tired, as the goblin is also losing its stamina, so she should wait for its next attack. Look at it carefully, and she will surely find an opening in it. He tells her to show her class as a scholar swordsman. Yeji follows his commands, and indeed acts like a true master of the scholar's swordsmanship, finally earning praise from Dojin. In the evening, the 2 of them get back to the portal, and Dojin once again praises her that her fighting the 17 goblins made it easier for them to explore the rift. Meanwhile, Yeji is lying on the ground as if her physical weight is currently her enemy. Dojin asks why she doesn't hunt alone since she can earn a good amount of money from it. But Yeji's purpose is to not earn fancy money, but to be a part of some group. Yeji asks Dojin politely, but knowingly, if he is hiding his true strength. Dojin acts clueless, but when Yeji points out his extraordinary knowledge about swordsmanship, he runs away from confrontation by jumping into the portal and announcing he is leaving first. Walking back at night, Dojin can sense someone stalking him and gives them 10 seconds to show themselves if they don't want him to do something. It seems like his memory affected his basic counting skills too, as after 9 in the countdown, he jumps to 3. This makes Yeji rush out and in front of him. As she is trying to catch her breath, Dojin asks why she has been following him as if it isn't obvious that she wants to get her answer about his true strength. Unfortunately for her already scarred image, her empty stomach growls mid-sentence, embarrassing her already embarrassing self. Dojin sighs and invites her to eat something since she has already followed him to the front of his apartment building. Chapter 7. Walking up the stairs when they have almost reached the apartment is when Einstein Yeji realizes it is inappropriate to go to some man's house at this hour, and she should better be heading home. However, Dojun tells her that they have reached and dinner must be prepared by now, so she better eat something. Yeji questions who could have prepared dinner when he was out, so Dojun tells her he lives with his daughter, Yoonhee. Yeji's thought process breaks as she wasn't aware that he was married and even had a daughter, and she feels even more terrible for intruding into a newly married couple's life. However, the chaos inside her brain is just about to begin. Dojun tells her to make sure she doesn't tell Yoonhee about the nature of their job, since she is unaware his job is a little dangerous. The moment the doors opened, a 17-year-old girl exclaims in welcoming her father back home. Yeji's eyes widen and she exclaims the reaction out loud, not being able to comprehend how a 26-year-old can have a 17-year-old daughter. Welcome to her funny brain, where she comprehends the various situations where Dojun may not be 26. Or he may have a pet name called Father. What do you think he is, Yeji? A priest? Yoonhee scrutinizes Yeji rather rudely, asking who she is and why she is here. She then inquires if she is just a coworker or anything more. It is very rude and out of bounds for her to intrude into the life of the man who is sheltering her. But Dojun ignores her childish behavior and remains unbothered. Yeji, however, feels flustered and anxious. Entering inside, Yeji praises how clean Yoonhee has kept the house, but Yoonhee seems to be having an attitude while faking a smile. She tells Yeji to leave after tea since they are going to have dinner soon, so Dojun has to tell her that he invited Yeji over for dinner. Being a sweet woman, Yeji tries to strike up casual conversations and praise the dinner Yoonhee cooked. But Yoonhee keeps turning down the compliments by mentioning it is all instant food. Yoonhee inquires about the unique-looking suitcase, to which Yeji casually starts talking about how she is an F-ranked hunter, and that the case and stuff are cheap, but made by a renowned company. Yeji has almost spilled everything by the time she realizes she was supposed to hide her real job from Yoonhee. So, it is no surprise that Dojun is giving her the ugliest possible stare for doing so. While she sulks over her blabbermouth, Dojun covers up the situation by telling Yoonhee that Yeji is a hunter as a side gig, and will be in deep trouble if anyone gets to know of it, so Yoonhee should make sure to keep it a secret. Yoonhee slams her hands on the table and stands up, scaring the woman who is supposed to be a fearless hunter. Yoonhee suddenly holds Yeji's hands and looks at her with shining eyes as she praises how amazing it is. Yoonhee then starts telling about how she plans to be a hunter too, and has already been accepted in the academy. Yeji tries to tell her that she is a low-ranked hunter, but Yoonhee shows maturity for once, by telling Yeji that it doesn't matter what rank it is if she passes a test and gets the title of a hunter. Yoonhee then keeps talking about being a hunter with Yeji, while Dojun sighs at the second crazy woman for the day. As Yeji is leaving, Yoonhee tells her it was nice talking to her, which makes Yeji courteously tell her that she will visit again. But you just cannot have this girl maintain her manners for long. Yoonhee tells Yeji that there is no need to visit again, since she doesn't like it. The sweet smile she carries while saying so doesn't make the blow softer. It makes her sound even more rude. Poor Yeji feels flustered yet again for her niceness. Yeji is about to leave when Dojun sends Yoonhee upstairs, telling her that he will escort Yeji. While walking, Yeji asks rhetorically about Yoonhee not being his biological daughter, which brings out the most expressions on his face and his tone of the whole day. He stutters with wide eyes, questioning why she'd say that, making Yeji list out how their ages don't add up. He doesn't wear a wedding ring, and Yoonhee's last name is different too. Dojun sighs, half impressed, telling Yeji she has a strange smartness, and then accepts that it is true. He tells her that she is his older brother's daughter and requests her to not tell anyone about it. Yeji ensures him while apologizing for prying into his life. Once Dojun turns back and walks away, Yeji's last confusion is left unheard, which she then decides to drop. But it also leaves us pondering, why is Lee Dojun's brother's last name Seol? Chapter 8. The next day, the chief is shocked when Dojun provides him with the data, which usually takes months to enter. He assumes Hyuksu helped Dojun, but even Hyuksu is unaware and praises Dojun. Yeji visits the office even though she isn't called today, making Dojun act coldly that she won't be paid anymore, and that he doesn't care. No wonder he didn't stop Yunhee from being rude. He isn't much of a ball of sunshine either. Yeji gives him the letter about the hunter's evaluation form. Hyuksu tells him that this annual evaluation either increases the ranks of the hunters or decreases it, and based on this, different guilds seek the hunters with better evaluation. Dojun expects Yeji will leave if her rank improves, but she plans on renewing her contract. And also she is sure she will never improve because she doesn't have any mana. Talk about self-confidence. Mana is the most important factor when it comes to evaluation, and with mana stones, hunters are even able to increase their physique. But Yeji cannot even hold any mana inside her body, let alone use it for her better. Once Yeji keeps insistent she is useless, even though Dojun asks her to keep trying. Dojun mentions how he will only be able to explore F-ranked rifts with her then. Instead of motivating Yeji, she tells Dojun dejectedly that he can look for a better ranked hunter then. Eventually, Dojun exclaims that she is his only hunter currently, and drags her toward the hunter training room that has been established in their building. The room is made of the materials that have been provided by the Hunter's Bureau to take up the received damage when training. But it seems like the room has not been in use much. Dojun tells her, body strengthening is also necessary for mana. But Yeji has already tried so, and her problem is not her physical strength, but the fact that she cannot reach phase 3 of her scholar's swordsmanship. Yeji shows Dojun her notes where she has written all the stuff about her skill, the ones she understands and the ones she doesn't. She even drew illustrations linked to her skill. Dojun scrutinizes the stick figures and tells her that they look similar to the 3 entities' sword art. Dumb Yeji asks if this is not scholar's swordsmanship then. But Dojun tells her that scholar's swordsmanship is derived from the 3 entities of sword arts. Jin Soun, the sword saint, was a royal scholar who suddenly appeared in the world, defeated the strongest warrior underneath the Heaves, the strongest warrior in Merim, and then disappeared without a trace. He was able to understand the 3 entities of sword art and called it the scholar's swordsmanship. Legend has it that he left the sword arts to the warrior that he defeated before disappearing. Having that said, Dojun sighed before calling out Yeji's name, stepping towards her, grabbing her shoulders, and telling her that there was no other character who could be as lucky as her. This leaves Yeji shocked and confused as she stares at Dojun. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to watch more videos like these, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. From researching and scriptwriting to editing and mastering our best manhwa review channel, I will work hard to roll out the highest quality manhwa entertainment videos twice or more a week. If you like what I do here, please consider supporting the channel. To learn more about how to support the channel, check out the link in the description box down below. And if you can't give or simply don't even feel like it, that's okay too. I'm just happy you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next video. For now, peace.